Hey, so did you know I like anime? Yeah, who could tell, right? Randomly socially awkward white boy likes anime? This is groundbreaking. Anime is one of my personal favorite mediums of entertainment. My favorite anime is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I've watched up to the end of season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Still reeling from it, actually. I finished it on the 24th of April, and I'm still physically not okay. Part 4 of JoJo is my favorite part, and of course, I've watched quite literally every single episode of Dragon Ball from the original to the end of Super. Yeah, we're talking about Dragon Ball today. The fighting in Dragon Ball, Z, GT, and Super is, for lack of better terms, iconic. Cliched as it is to say. Fast-paced, heavy impacts, flashy effects, loud and crazy special moves, and completely ass-pull transformations that just come out of absolutely fucking nowhere. The energy of this series has been something devs have been trying to channel for years when it comes to games, and we've definitely had a lot of successes. The Budokai Tenkaichi games, the Xenoverse duology, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, and of course, Fighters. But those are all console games. What do we have on our little handheld friends here? Yeah, so not to diss Legacy of Goku, but really these games aren't nearly as peak as we all remember them being. There's actually a lot of really good handheld Dragon Ball games. This is that everybody remembers Legacy of Goku. My personal favorite Dragon Ball handheld game is Supersonic Warriors.
Tonight expect mostly aggressive skies, followed by a flurry of punches. Heavy damage expected. Dragon Ball Z Supersonic Warriors, the fight takes to the skies. Available for Game Boy Advance, rated T, in stores June 29th.
Supersonic Warriors came out in 2004, published by Bandai and developed by Arc System Works, aka the Fighters guys, aka the Guilty Gear guys, aka the developers who created Axel Lowe, who himself is the single most fun zoner in fighting games, and I will not take any argument that says otherwise. Yeah, it's a Game Boy Advance fighting game, which is a genre that has a, let's just say mixed quality on the Game Boy Advance. Before everything else, I want to talk about the most important part about a game, the gameplay. The first thing you're going to notice about it is that this isn't your traditional grounded fighter. Supersonic Warriors is actually far closer to the Budokai Tenkaichi games than it is to something like Fighters or even the previous Dragon Ball Z fighting games like Super Butoden and Hyperdimension. The majority of Supersonic Warriors combat happens in the air while you're around flying. You open a round on the ground and pretty much immediately afterwards spend the entirety of the match in the air. The Game Boy Advance only has a D-pad, 2 face buttons, and 2 shoulder buttons, so the controls had to be tuned around that. Your D-pad, obviously, controls movement. Double tapping a direction makes you dash in that direction. Holding R and pressing a direction will let you do a key-powered rush towards your enemy, a high-speed option to close distance. A and B do a heavy and a light attack respectively, while the R button charges up your ki. Pressing a combo of R and A or B drains some power to fire a ki blast, which also has a heavy or light option. R plus A and B at the same time activates a long-range certain kill. Think of this as essentially your super or your overdrive if we were talking in another Arc System fighting game term. It costs you ki, using 50% of it to fire off a powerful special attack, generally being a signature move of your character. You know, the Kamehameha, Big Bang Attack, Destructo Disc, or Special Beam Cannon. When in close range, hitting A and B at the same time, you'll use a close range certain kill. It costs no ki, but you get right into the enemy's face, so they can easily punish you if you don't activate it right away. L plus R uses special ability, which I'm pretty sure is like just for Goku, as it activates the Kaioken technique. The gameplay is pretty fun, albeit a tad bit clunky at times, but that's mostly just down to the movement. Your actions are slippery because you're in the air, so your characters constantly feel like they're on ice. And given how some special moves need you to be in a specific area to actually activate them, that's occasionally a problem. Thankfully, it is only occasionally. What it really comes down to is a combo of rushing in, hitting your opponent with a quick light and heavy rush, then following it up with backing out and landing your certain kill. You should also be focusing on this thing up here, the battle gauge. When you or an opponent blocks attacks or gets hit by attacks, the battle gauge begins to shift in either direction. If it hits the opponent's side, they'll be stunned until it goes back down in the middle. Overall, the gameplay is really fun. Like, seriously fun, and a lot of that comes down to the characters. Speaking of which, let's talk about them. Supersonic Warriors has 13 characters, each with 3 levels, essentially tripling the roster. Goku, Gohan, Krillin, Piccolo, Vegeta, Future Trunks, Gotenks, Frieza, Perfect Cell, Android 18, Dr. Gero, Majin Buu, and Captain Ginyu. Why exactly? I mean, I guess it adds in a villain from the Namek Saga that isn't just Frieza, but Ginyu? Not like Zarbon or Dodoria. We got Ginyu? Alrighty then. So, how exactly do these characters even impact the game? Well, back when I was discussing the controls, you may notice that I left out what the L button does. The L button swaps your characters. Yes, this is a 3v3 fighter, where you swap between characters on the fly to continue your assault. Of course, you can always just decide to run with only one character, or two, but 3 is the default option. Seeing as I already really covered the gameplay early on, I kind of want to talk about something else. Graphically, this game is pretty good given the anime it's supposed to look like. It's pretty easy to tell who every character is from far away, and the screen is never really muddled up from effects and whatnot. You can see the backgrounds here, they're kind of done in this Mode 7-esque style, and yes, I know the GBA doesn't do Mode 7, but it allows for this deceptively large arena for such an actual small area. The sprite work definitely helps, too, as when you start to fly above the enemy, they don't just look up. They actually move and turn slightly, giving off this effect like they're looking and going further away from them. The cut-ins during 100% in certain kills are incredibly well done as well, replicating the style of the original anime and manga surprisingly well. You know what else is actually really good, too? The soundtrack. Sure, it's not a soundtrack I'm going to be putting on the aux, and nobody's out there going, man, I sure do love a Goku and Gohan battle. But for being a little soundtrack for some random Dragon Ball GBA game, it does its job. Tracks like the battle intro and the chapter prologue theme sound like some stuff straight out of the show. I mean, they're Big Crush to hell, but still, they sound like they come from the show. And actually, speaking of tracks from the show, the Japanese OST intro is Chala Head Chala, and it sounds absolutely amazing with the Game Boy Advance sound file. Also coming from the Japanese OST is a version of We Were Angels, aka the second best thing to come out of the Boo arc. The first best was Vegeta's Sacrifice, don't fucking argue with me. Just because the Japanese OST has some amazing tracks, though, doesn't mean the standard OST is bad. The title theme we got over here is just as good, though not nearly as recognizable. I really wish it was Dragon Soul, but Dragon Ball Kai didn't drop until 2009, so alas, we're stuck with a mere house fire as opposed to the forest fire of heat that is Dragon Soul. As for the story, it covers the main arcs of Z. What do you want me to say? There's also what-if stories that follow the story of one particular character, like what if Krillin was the one who had to fight Majin Buu. Quick side note, actually, I just want to talk about this because I don't think I'll ever get the opportunity to. People who make what-ifs for Dragon Ball and anime in general are some of the most batshit insane people ever. Don't get me wrong, there's some good ones, anything by Masako X being the main thing I refer to. But like, what if Goku got reincarnated as Vegeta, but with all the powers of Naruto, and was also the legendary Super Saiyan? It is not a cinematic masterpiece. I hate to break it to you. I have no idea if the what if I just said was real or not, but if it isn't, please don't be the one to make it. I will probably cry. Overall, Supersonic Warriors is a fun enough Dragon Ball game and a solid fighting game, especially for Game Boy Advance standards. It even actually got a sequel in the Nintendo DS called Supersonic Warriors 2. I've never actually played this game, so hey, if you want to see me cover that too, let me know. I know this isn't really my traditional style of content, not that I've had a traditional style for a while, given how I went from stream highlights to a tier list to a challenge run to this, but hey, whatever. If you made it to the end of the video, 1, thank you, I appreciate it, and 2, I'd actually appreciate it even more if you decided to like and subscribe. It would help out the channel a ton, and I would really appreciate that, actually. You don't have to, I'm not your dad. I really can't force you to do anything. You kind of know the drill by now. Anyways, so at this point of me recording this section of the script at least, it's currently May 2nd, which means in 4 days I turn 20, and I got a lot of shit that I need to figure out by then. So uploads are going to be a little bit slow. I'm working on finding a new job, because that venture didn't work out well for me. I gotta work on some college stuff, because I'm going to try to be going to college here soon. You know, I can't, like, allow myself to be dumb and depressed. I really gotta pick one of those battles to fight. Beyond that, I'm also working on my own personal health from, like, a physical standpoint, because whenever I have to walk up and down stairs, I have to, like, breathe in and out heavily, which probably isn't what most would consider healthy. That, and I was browsing YouTube shorts, and they showed me cosplayers who were actually in shape, and I was like, shit. am I really just gonna sit here and do nothing with my life when there's people out here enjoying the things I like that look leagues better than me? So yeah. There's gonna be some time breaking up videos now, and I know it's probably gonna be similar to what the old time frame was, which was like 1 video a month. I'm gonna watch as I eat my words here, and I'm actually uploading like weekly, which would be absolutely asinine to me. Anyways, that's all. I was planning on doing something funny here for the outro, but there really isn't anything. It's kind of just a general update. So anyways, peace. Stay good, people.